Do you know what yarn you're using for your next crochet project? If you're a beginner and you're totally lost on what yarn to get, I got you. There's 3 criteria that you need to consider when choosing the right yarn for your next project. Those criteria are weight, fiber, and structure. When we refer to the weight of the yarn, what we're also referring to is the thickness. So when you look at the weight of the yarn, you're going to consider its thickness and you're going to consider how much weight you are buying, quite literally. If a skein weighs 50 grams versus 100 grams versus 400 grams, anything like that. Because when you consider the weight of the skein of your yarn in relation to its length or its yardage, that is going to give you a good indicator of how weighty it is. So typically at a beginner level, you're going to want to start with something that's at a level 4-ish kind of weight, or something that's labeled as a sport or a DK weight yarn. If you want to make a lightweight kind of wearable, you should be using a lightweight yarn. If you want to make a fluffy, cozy, chunky sweater, you're going to want to use a heavier weighted yarn. The second criteria is fiber, i.e. the material of the yarn. You've got loads of different materials you can choose from. The most common materials that you're going to find on the market are cotton, acrylic, and wool. Acrylic is really easy and really cost effective. Cotton is also really easy, but it's much more light than acrylic can be. And depending on the manufacturer, it could be more or less expensive. Wool is stretchy, it's warm, it's cozy, and again, depending on the manufacturer, it can be a little more expensive. But I mean, wool is just so luxurious. And sometimes, depending on your project, it's just so worth it to just buy the wool. The third criteria you want to consider is structure. When we say structure with yarn, we're referring to how tightly or loosely the yarn is twisted. If the yarn is twisted too loosely, it's easier to split with your hook. And that's not really a good thing, especially if you're a beginner crocheter. And just understanding these 3 criteria, or at least considering them ahead of your project and ahead of your yarn shopping trip, can make your trip down the yarn shopping aisle a lot easier and less overwhelming. And in the next episode, I'm going to show you what is the one yarn you should consider when starting out with your crocheting. I'll see you there.